Just days ago in Somerville, Massachusetts, Tufts University PhD student Rumeysa Ozturk became the most recent target and victim of Trump's plainclothes attack dogs and their crackdown on free speech rights. Surrounding and detaining her before showing their badges, pulling up in an unmarked car, and covering their faces with masks and sunglasses, the ICE officers ambushed Ozturk outside her apartment as she was on the way to break her Ramadan fast with friends, immediately snatching her phone from her as well.
Are you looking scary? Where the police? Where the police? Where the police?
Yeah, you don't look like it. Why are you hiding your faces? Why are you hiding your faces?
An excellent question. Why do they need to hide their faces if they're acting lawfully? A second camera angle obtained and released by investigative reporter Danielle Boguslaw shows a closer look at Ozturk's detainment.
You guys covering your faces? You want to take those masks off?
Just put yourself in her shoes and imagine how terrified you would feel if half a dozen random people descended on you when you know you've committed no crime whatsoever. That's the feeling Donald Trump's administration wants anyone who disagrees with the actions of the Israeli government and his administration to feel in perpetuity. Even more so if you happen to be or even look like a foreign national despite having the necessary legal documentation to live in the country.
Is this a kidnapping?
The only difference between what we're seeing here and a kidnapping is that the people carrying it out have the full backing of the government and are emboldened to act above the law. It also must be said that the person filming this angle deserves a massive shout out for capturing the Gestapo-like scene to show the world what these targeted, baseless attacks look like in practice, while also providing crucial evidence for Ozturk's legal defense if she even can make one.
Can I see some faces here? How do I know this is the police? Seems like bull to me. Certainly looks like it.
Ozturk is then whisked off into an unmarked ICE vehicle as the officers continue to keep their identities hidden, eventually dispersing into the same unmarked vehicles they were stalking Ozturk from. Remember, this is only the first step in implementing Trump's fascist approach to political dissent and the free speech he disagrees with. And you're delusional if you think it will just stop at undocumented immigrants and legal visa holders like Ozturk and the other names we'll discuss shortly. No charges have been filed against Ozturk per her attorney, and as far as we know, she's currently being held in an immigration facility in Louisiana. Now, notice how similar this state-sponsored kidnapping was to this one from just weeks before.
Hey guys, quick break in the action. I have a new show coming out called The Rick Strom Show. It is going to be awesome. I'm interviewing musicians, athletes, producers, writers, journalists, authors, sports doctors. Go check it out at youtube.com/@TheRickStrom Show. Also be sure to throw me a follow on Instagram, Threads, blue sky. It can all be found in the description box below. Thank you.
What? You're going to be under arrest. So turn around, turn around, turn around, turn around, turn around.
Okay,
Stop
let's
resisting.
not.
Stop resisting.
Okay, he's not resisting. He's giving me his phone. Okay, he's not. I understand. He's not resisting.
Put your arm down.
Like,
There's no need for this.
Don't worry about it. You're going to have to come with us. Don't worry
I'm
about it.
coming with you. Don't worry.
No one's resisting, no one's getting worked up.
you guys really don't need to be doing all of that.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
حبيبي كيف بدي اتصل فيك؟
Take Amy. Call Amy. She'll be
Okay.
fine.
The man being arrested is Mahmoud Khalil, the lead negotiator for Columbia University's student activist group calling on the university to divest from Israel, who spoke at the campus protests against the Israeli government's atrocities.
Let me ask. Can we get a name, please? Can we get your name? I understand the lawyer is asking for your name.
Go over there. No, we don't give our names.
The lawyer's asking for your name. He's saying they don't give their names. Can you please specify what agency is taking him, please? Excuse me. They're not talking to me. I don't know.
Remember, the administration is deliberately doing this to generate the panic, fear, and dread you've heard in Khalil's wife and Ozturk's voices to anyone in the country who dares speak out against Trump. It's worth noting that Khalil is also reportedly being held in a Louisiana immigration detention center.
Capitulation of the Democratic Party to the Trump administration well, it would be shameful, except that we don't expect anything better from them in the first place. All the old talk of abolish ICE, that's just for the midterms. It's just a bunch of lies. If democracy is going to be defended, it's not going to come from the Democratic Party. It's going to come from you, and it's going to come from the working people in this country who are about to realize what's coming. And so that's our
Like stated before, Ozturk and Khalil's disappearances are just scratching the surface of Trump deploying ICE to act like his own Gestapo secret police force with complete legal immunity and zero respect for the constitutional right to due process.
Momodou Tall is a PhD student in the Department of Africana Studies at Cornell University, a dual citizen of the United Kingdom and the Gambia. Last year, he was suspended twice for joining a demonstration calling on Cornell to divest from Israel. He faced deportation until massive protests pressured Cornell to allow him to re-enroll, thereby extending his visa.
Cornell student Momodou Tall could very well be facing the same treatment from ICE as Khalil and Ozturk if he doesn't surrender himself to the agency after his student visa was revoked.
So you're reinstated at Cornell, you don't lose your visa, and yet now ICE says they're going to deport you. What happened?
Yeah, thank you so much. Good morning, and thank you so much for having me on. I mean, as you said, I think if we're going to take a step back, this is what happens when the universities don't stand by their students. And fundamentally, Cornell has placed a target on my back. Given the heavy-handed nature in which they repressed protests for pro-Palestine, but fundamentally in this country, the First Amendment does not just protect citizens, but it says persons. And our lawsuit is essentially challenging, first and foremost, my ability to speak, but also American citizens have the right to hear speech. What we're seeing now isn't just a crackdown on pro-Palestinian speech, even though that cannot be divorced from that, but we're seeing that any criticism of the state of Israel, any criticism of the United States government or Trump's administration, you can be liable for deportation. So if you ask me what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to challenge this, and we're seeking a national injunction, not just to protect folks, myself, but also to protect anyone in the country who may be in a similar situation.
Tall and two other plaintiffs filed a suit against the federal government to block the enforcement of two of Trump's executive orders designed to target pro-Palestinian voices and crack down on student protesters, aiming to prevent his deportation.
Suri is originally from India, a Georgetown University professor and postdoctoral scholar on religion and peace processes in the Middle East and South Asia. Last Monday evening, he was ambushed by masked federal agents with the Homeland Security Department as he and his family returned to their home in Rosslyn, Virginia, after attending an iftar gathering for Ramadan. Suri was taken into custody without being charged or accused of any crime. He was told the federal government had revoked his visa. Over the next 72 hours, Suri was transferred to multiple immigration detention centers. He's currently jailed at an Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility in Alexandria, Louisiana, separated from his wife, a U.S. citizen of Palestinian descent, and his 3 children.
Yeah, so the family here has been devastated. They've been shocked. The children are traumatized. I do believe the target here was not my colleague Badar Khan Suri, but it was his wife, who's a Palestinian from Gaza. They couldn't arrest her because she's a U.S. citizen, so they went after a much easier target, her husband, who, of course, has committed no crime. He was just doing his work. He's not a political activist. And I think that's an important part of the story. The other important part of the story here is that the origins of this begins on the right-wing social media sphere, where these extreme pro-Israel fanatics find a target and they start tweeting about it, tagging the Israeli embassy, tagging Marco Rubio, and then within a few days, Rubio sends in the shock troops. That's the background.
And even when you yourself are not an outspoken political activist, you're not safe from law enforcement either, as made clear by Badar Khan Suri's case. Fascism is here. And if you're not condemning the blatant disregard for civil rights to the highest degree, then you have no self-preservation skills and are willingly giving up the rights that so many of our predecessors fought and died for to earn and protect.
If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYTSports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.